Hi, my name is Avi and I work for a company based in London and we make a product called Door Tablet. Door Tablet is a big environment. It handles a whole range of use cases inside the workplace. And in here, what we're showing here at ISE 2024, we specifically focus on our collaboration with Qbic. We've been working with Qbic for around 9 years, from the early days of their first product, and we have continuously contributed to the evolution of the Qbic platform. And it's been a great pleasure and beneficial, business beneficial for our companies. So the first thing I'd like to maybe point at is the traditional product, the signage that would often be displayed outside meeting rooms. What you see here is the latest incarnation of the 10.1-inch device from Qbic. It's a lovely piece of equipment and we call it the Door Tablet NXT for next, but in Qbic speech this is the TD1070. Also around here you will see some other piece of equipment. You will see the latest incarnation of the Qbic ePaper, the EP400 and the EP700. We have already integrated with this hardware and we'll talk about it in a moment and explain what we've done. So Door Tablet as an environment, it encompasses a whole range of services. I did touch on the outside the room, but we also have a solution for inside the room. There you don't have to use a sophisticated professional display. If you want to use something that you get for a few dollars from Alibaba, you can do that because it's not mission critical. This is mission critical. You want this to work all the time on PoE, LED and so on. Our in-room display is designed to ensure that people leave meetings on time because people get into conversations in meetings, they forget themselves, and before you know it, meeting is over, people are knocking on the door asking you to get out. Okay, so the in-room display is designed to eliminate this kind of leakage, meeting leakage. Moving away from the meeting room in a second, one of the things that people have also asked us to integrate with is motion sensors. Again, motion sensor, it's still obviously relating to a meeting room, but it reflects outside the meeting room. So we have network-based sensors that will pair with your displays, which will immediately change their appearance as soon as you walk into the room. You walk into the room, the display says, I'm active. Okay, so it's particularly useful either when the rooms are opaque, you can't see inside because it's not glass walls, but also just to give users an understanding which rooms are currently occupied, even if they're not booked in advance. We have streamlined the whole process of booking straight from the devices. We offer a number of methodologies for identification. If you want to identify who the person who is reserving the room or checking in or extending, terminating, etc., there's numerous ways of doing this with Door Tablet. You can use RFID, and you see some of the pieces do have RFID support built into the chassis. As you can see, this one has an NSF. That symbol indicates that there's RFID integration built in. We also support HID. HID is very common in access control systems, and we can read HID cards and integrate back with the server. So the whole process of user identification is streamlined. We make it easy. But also if you use some of the Qbic hardware that does not have built-in RFID, you can use PIN codes. So users are assigned a PIN code, can be 4 digits code, 5 digits, something that is easy to remember for the users. They can come in, tap their number, and their identity is immediately known. They don't have to type username and authenticate, very streamlined. So moving on away from the typical endpoints, we have a variety of wayfinding displays. These wayfinding displays, actually the most popular wayfinding display is the one you see here, is the floor plan. And in here you can see the same occupancy in two different ways. One is a map, but of course the map does not show the flow of time, but the time bars show the flow of time much better. You can come and scroll this if you need to, if there's many rooms. As you will also see, this is interactive. So you can come here and you'll immediately be offered a task that is available in this context, and you can come and reserve. In this case, the system requests that you put a PIN code that relates to the room, not to any individual. Once we're looking at it, let's also observe that this will also create a team session, because Door Tablet is fully integrated with, in this case, this is a Microsoft 365 implementation, so you will see that it will create a team session effortlessly. Obviously, if you're walking by a room and you want to book it, you want to get a team session because you've got some other colleagues that are working from home, instant generation of your collaboration links. Some leftovers of COVID, constant reminders of washing your hands, keeping hygiene. Again, all of these things are built into Door Tablet. Of course, you can control what this is saying. You can remove this altogether. We also offer the whole system with full NLS support. So it currently works in 20 languages. Moreover, we've got a number of features to do with languages. You can easily change language on the fly, on the display. So let's say in some countries where you want to use, let's say German, and you want to offer visitors the ability to understand what's happening. You show them the Union Jack or the American flag. They come and touch the display. The whole display changes to English instantly. Once they walk away, 30 seconds later, it switches back to German. Okay. In fact, there are some additional NLS or natural language support features available in the product. One of the things that I've omitted to mention earlier on, we also have integration with access control. The integration with access control is split into two. One aspect is identity management. Basically, your ability to come and present your access control card, and the system will know who you are. That's identity. The second thing is actually door actions. So Door Tablet is able to operate door on supported access control systems. So we have these situations where you can also do this even without the access control magnetic cards, the RFID card. You can come to a device, tap the PIN number, and your door will open. It all depends on the configuration, on the installation. Moving on, to my right here, we have the latest incarnation of the Door Tablet EPS. EPS stands for ePaper system. And in here, we're supporting the two new devices that Qbic offers. We manage this in a very effective way. We're using this device here, which we call the Door Tablet ABX2. This is in fact the Qbic PBX100. As you can see, it connects to a USB hub. Currently, what is shown here is one dongle. The protocol here is Bluetooth. So the communication between this system and the ePaper devices is using Bluetooth version 5.2. So what happens here is that the software that runs here is called the Door Tablet EPS controller. The EPS controller communicates with our server. The server tells it schedules, who book a room, what's happening on the agenda, what's happening in a particular desk, and it's the responsibility of the software here through the Bluetooth dongle to modify the displays on the EPS. The dongles here, sorry, not the dongles, the displays, the ePaper displays, as you can see, use three colors. We use red, blue, red, black, and white. Okay. And obviously you can use the colors to communicate the status, the current status of a room. Okay, so it's a very effective use of 3 colors. Some of the things that are coming up in this software is we're adding load balancing and fault recovery. And the idea here is that instead of just using one Bluetooth dongle, you'll be able to populate this entire array with additional dongles, and you'll be able to service a lot of these devices on one single system. Of course, this depends on distance and any other abstraction. If you have a column of elevators in the middle of the floor, maybe not a good idea to try to bypass through the elevators. You deploy another one of these in different parts of the floor. So just kind of to wrap things up, I just wanted to take you into our control center. So the Door Tablet web interface allows you to control every aspect of the Door Tablet system from one place. From here, you manage the connectivity to the backend scheduling system, you manage users, you track workstations, you define all your business rules for your workspaces, and just kind of to finish this presentation here today, beautiful animated embedded analytics. So I hope you enjoyed this recording, and obviously if you need any more information, please contact Qbic on qbic-technology.com, and of course contact door-tablet.com, and we'd love to speak to you. So people often ask us why we work with Qbic for such a long time. A very simple reason. First of all, nice bunch of people. It helps. You need to work with nice people. People that collaborate, people that listen, and people that respond to your needs. We've had, over the years, made a whole set of requests from Qbic to change the APIs, to resolve problems, and so on. And we always find them very responsive, very professional, basically easy to work with. And it's a very competitive world, and of course our ability to work with Qbic has shown. Our clients always say that our response time has been fantastic, and a lot of this is because we know we can rely on Qbic. So if there is a problem and Qbic needs to solve it because we identified a fault with something, not that many things, okay, we know that we can get a response. I can also attest that the product quality has been very, very high. Our failure rate of devices has been literally negligible. Whenever we have hardware fault, we always trace it back, typically to the end users. They pull the wire too hard from the network. Okay, well, no wonder why there is no networking working anymore. So negligible failure, and even if there are, sending a device back to Qbic or getting some critical spares has always been easy. In a nutshell, great company to work with, and we're very happy to be Qbic partners. Thank you for watching.